So, Martha, the Council on Social Work Education has identified field education as a signature pedagogy in their accreditation standards, and identified as the guiding force in the educational process for students. And I know that we've talked about this in field education and in meetings with other field educators from other schools, and a number of schools are really struggling to raise field education to that level in their program, and I really believe that we're there. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit, how you see it.
Absolutely. So let me just start off with the first part of what you were talking about, this notion of signature pedagogy. I think social work has, over the years, seen the field education aspect of the curriculum as being a part where students just went out and practiced. So that there was almost a sense that the courses came first, and then as sort of an afterthought, there was field education. And what's always been interesting to me has been that if you talk to a student, a social work student, a graduate, the thing that they remember is the name of their field instructor. Mm-hmm. It's not the name of the individual who taught them, their Policy 1 class. So it's interesting to me that social work has always seen field education in a much different perspective than students have seen it or have viewed it. And I think with this notion of signature pedagogy, social work education has finally said that we've got a cart before the horse, and that in actuality, field education, because it is the integrating point for coursework and for knowledge and skill building, that field education really is the keystone, the capstone, if you would, of the educational process. Mm-hmm. And because of that, because they've said that field education has such an incredibly important role, it has been difficult for some schools of social work to change that process, change that culture, if you would. One of the things I believe that this particular school of social work is different with in regards to this is that we've always seen field as being our capstone, if you would. We've always seen it as being the most important part of the education process, and in large part because that is where the integration occurs. Mm-hmm. We can spend a lot of time in a classroom talking with students, and students who will be taking and preparing for field will have been prepared with their classwork, but it's actually in that field process that they see how what they've learned, the knowledge that they've learned, how it really has application to the real world. Because of that, because that's such a critical point for transformation for them, if you would. Planning for field, ensuring that the field education is driven by educational outcomes, that there's a careful choice of not only the field agency, but the supervisor and the kind of supervision that is given to a student during this time is critically important. Mm-hmm. And that is the one area in our school that we really spend a lot of time in, is within field education, through you and your field education faculty, of going through and ensuring that there's a goodness of fit between the agencies, stated outcomes, mission, if you would, and the school's mission, and in the same sense with the students' learning. So the field practicum experience, the work within the agency, becomes then an extension of the school learning environment and includes that individual who's doing the supervision as a critical part of the education that our students receive.
Mhm.
So it's very critically important.
It is. It is. And I think our commitment to having this happen in the online program, that even though we're going to be working with students long distance, through the use of the technology, we'll be able to provide that same level of support, that same level of making sure it's a good fit. And I see the seminar as being really integral to that process of ensuring that the student is really able to integrate what they've learned in their coursework
Yes.
and what they're doing in the field, and for the field folks to be a support to the student if there are challenges, if there are issues. So just maintaining that high level
Right.
of commitment to field education.
Yes, there is a reason why we have 2 advisors in the school for every student. Every student has an academic advisor, and then they have a field advisor. And this is the only school that I'm aware of where we have a student has 2 advisors, and that's because field is equally as important as the classroom. And I think there is a commitment. There's a commitment by the field faculty, there's a commitment by the school that regardless of how one approaches their learning environment, be it in a classroom setting, on campus if you would, or if it's online, that it is that we still see field as the signature pedagogy, as the standards say. So
I agree.
it's critically important for students.
It is, and I think for the field instructor too, because as we're talking, I'm thinking, how we reach out to our field instructors who may not have gone through our program,
Right.
and how we help them with the integration, how we offer that support, how we educate our field instructors so they can educate our students.
Right.
And we do that through, again, the personal contact, the contact through technology, the orientation and field instructor seminars that we offer, as well as being there if the field instructor needs to talk to us.
Right.
So I think that's
Yeah.
critical too to making this work for the student.
Yeah. We always have that very strong communication channel, if you would.
Yeah.
So it's very fluid. So it's very important.
I agree.
Very important.
I agree. Well, thank you, Martha.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yes.